Good afternoon, family and friends. Welcome to my channel. My name is Nyamakura Silla. I'm sitting here in my little bungalow, and that's like a snapshot of my decor. I'm a very arty person, not in the sense that I actually do any art myself. But I like art. I like to look at it. I like to buy art, and it gives me a lot of pleasure. I'm interested in different types of art. And I've tried to make the bungalow as homey and as colourful as I could possibly make it without it being too much, So yeah, obviously I've been at it for the best part of the year, and it's been a bit of a chore, I have to say. But yeah, so far so good. We're carrying on. It's a hot day today. I'm just thinking through some things as always. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Please join the family. I have to say I'm an infrequent poster on YouTube. I have to sort of arrange myself to do it a little bit more frequently. But today I just wanted to talk a little bit about politics, and I'm sorry to talk about politics, I really am, because I do think that my YouTube is about lighter stuff, fun and other interesting stuff. But the point I'm trying to make today is I really do think that if you have a leader in a country and they cannot perform in a way to support the population of the country, and by supporting I mean the availability of water, basic needs, water, electricity, being able to take care of incidents and accidents when they happen, basic health care, when people die, for us to know why they died, so that we can prevent it happening, so that we can save other people, or so that we can keep them alive for longer. Or if a road traffic accident happens, why did it happen? Why did so many people die? Was the car faulty? Were there any other reasons for it happening? That sort of thing. Just something that would help society function a bit better. I'm afraid in many countries across our continent we don't have that privilege. And really shouldn't be privilege. It shouldn't be a privilege. It should be normal, everyday sort of thing that should happen. For example, having access to water, having access to electricity without you having to provide all of those things for yourself. And the other thing is, when you provide it for yourself, the thing is, you're the only person who does provide it for themselves. Other people around you cannot, because they can't afford it. So if you go and you put in a brand new solar system, you have electricity in your house, and you're able to keep food for longer in the fridge, obviously because you have electricity. You're able to get on with daily life because at night and so on, because you have electricity. And nobody else around you has that opportunity. It obviously puts you at odds with the rest of the community, and why should people be subject to that sort of scrutiny? Do you know what I mean? So these are the reasons why I say it's incredibly important that society is opened up to an extent where we're thinking about the people that are leading us and whether they're qualified to do so. If you have a person come into government and they're not able to enhance the lives of people, they're not able to make things better for people, then why are they there? You know, there must be some way we can measure the performance of leaders so that if it's not working out for us, we say goodbye and we don't even say thank you. We must sort of try and increase our ability to be able to stamp on useless leaders, you know, because it impacts on the health of everybody, it impacts on communities. It tells people that they cannot live a certain way, and we're not talking about living a super rich lifestyle or a lifestyle that is beyond your means. We're just talking about the availability of basic goods and services like electricity, like water, you know, like safe roads, like traveling without worrying about an accident happening, that sort of thing. Those are the things really that people are thinking about. So, I mean, it's a bit tricky, and generally, I think that in African populations, because people are so bogged down with the day-to-day life and day-to-day living and trying to, let me just open this door up a little bit because it's getting warmer and warmer. Because people are so bogged down with the day-to-day, with day-to-day life, day-to-day living, how to make ends meet, how to look after their families, how to just do the basics. They just don't think about how is our government performing. Why is it that any school that I go to, there are no toilets that are suitable? Do you know what I mean? Like the children go to schools and they cannot have access to clean water. They cannot, well, they can use the toilets, but the toilets are so disgusting. They're like nothing that you can even imagine, you know. Why can't we have schools that have running water and toilets for the children? How do we say that we are giving our children education without being able to provide the basics for them within that education? How do we then learn? How do they then learn how to keep themselves clean if there's no toilets in the schools, or the toilets are so dismal that they really cannot be used? Absolutely everything is broken in them, and some of them are just dangerous places where people could actually slip into a hole and die. You know, that's how terrible they are. So when we have leaders that are not able to increase the standard of living for citizens, for the inhabitants of the country, then, you know, I feel that the pressure is then on the citizens to make those choices and say, well, no, actually, this isn't the right person for us, our lives are not better. You know, some sort of analysis, that again, I come right back down to my point. My fear is that many communities across our continent do not have that level of analysis, and so they just live in any way that they see fit and just try and, you know, manage their lives however they can. That is the problem. That is the problem. But really, it's quite bad because you see the leaders are living a certain lifestyle. They're travelling up and down the world with their entourage, go into places, have access to the best shops across the world. They're living the high life in nice hotels. doing all sorts of things, have their mates around them, their friends around them. Even when they live in the country, they never suffer anything like a power cut. They never lack anything. They always have lived the life of a luxury life, basically. And this is, they're living a luxury life when everybody around them, or most people around them, are living life in the deepest, darkest parts of society. You know, they're not able to afford basic amenities. They don't even have access, never mind affording it, they don't even have access to basic amenities. So many of these slum areas in the city, or informal settlements as they call them, don't have proper toilets. Some of them, they dig a hole in the ground and that's where they all do their business. So it really is a tricky one, and I'm not sure I really fear for many countries across the African continent that even in another 100 years, people will not be able to have access and opportunity to live normal, decent lives. And this directly impacts on situations like, you know, doing the Temple Run, for example, when they cross, people pay to cross the Sahara Desert, which in itself is a hugely risky undertaking. They pay huge amounts of money to cross the Sahara Desert to try and get into Europe, seeking better lives across the Mediterranean Sea. That's a hugely controversial sort of approach to take, because you don't know whether you're going to survive crossing the Sahara Desert, for starters. But so many people are willing to take that chance rather than continue to live in countries where they don't feel supported and they feel that they don't have any access to basic amenities or opportunities to better their own lives. And that's the bottom line. I think if we had African governments that would sit and think about this and sort of get together and find ways of how to support populations and stop people from doing dangerous acts like crossing the desert in search of better lives, then we would know that we were on to maybe progress in some areas. But we don't see that. We don't see anybody concerned about it. We don't hear of conferences being set up by African countries and leaders to say, you know, how are we going to support these people? How are we going to enable our young people to have meaningful lives? So many people die on our roads with horrific road traffic accidents because the cars are faulty. Not everyone practices how to drive before they drive. Dangerous driving is not penalised. We don't enforce the law enough insofar as safety is concerned, and the risks that people take to run these huge operations in terms of commercial vehicles is unbelievable, because there's a lot of money in it and they cut corners and just transport people up and down the country for costs that are beneficial to them but not beneficial to the person who's using the service, because there are no the safety rules are not applied. So there must be some way that we can say to leaders, if you don't perform and straighten things up during your term that you're in government, then we're going to, make sure that you don't come back or terminate the contract. It's actually a contract between the population and the leader or the people in government. It's actually a contract, and the government really has to perform. But I mean, this is all wishful thinking. I literally don't know whether we'll ever get to a situation in our African countries where we can be able to put forward these demands and expect that something can be done about them. But it's worthwhile thinking about. If you're listening to this YouTube video, do please leave a comment, tell us what you think. How can we improve our lives? How can we progress things in our countries? You know, so many of us are patriotic, and how can we make that a positive reality? Patriotism, how can we make that a positive reality for people in our nations across the board? You know, that's all I wanted to say. My name is Demakura Silla. Thank you for joining me. Hope you have a decent week ahead, and cheers. All the best.